Hey, what is going on, my peeps? This is your boy Vanara Scott, the Killer Cream himself. December the 10th, 2024 to him, 8:38 p.m. Um, I just had a rather energetic discussion with a religious group, the Sicarri Warriors of Memphis, Tennessee, and I just wanted to talk about it right quick. First of all, it got kind of heated toward the end, and I want to personally apologize to the Sicarri Warriors, the Sicarri Faith of Memphis, Tennessee. I got it got a little heated between the both of us, and it got out of hand, and that's why I had to get out of that podcast. It was just something that didn't need to continue on. um, I will say that it was started off. It was supposed to be totally my podcast, and I think that they wanted to stream on their platform, which is fine. Which is fine, but I couldn't. I guess I won't say control the flow of the what's the name, which kind of threw it off. You know what I'm saying? Which kind of made me feel uneasy. You know what I'm saying? Because once you have a certain theme of something, you need to keep that going. And it'll throw you off and it'll make you a little bit uneasy, I guess, or whatever. But it was okay to a certain point. I was letting the brother speak and he was reading off a lot of stuff. And, even though I didn't, I had points with, I had problems with a lot of stuff that he was saying, I still let him continue on. And now I kind of understand. To be honest, I used to watch this program on YouTube. It was called The Atheist Experience, and sometimes they would get a little high strung on that show. And I would wonder, and I would say, that would never be the case with me. However, it got to that point when I was debating with the Sicarri Warriors. Like I said, I was totally unprofessional. Um, I guess it needs to be a more of a structured, more moderated thing when it comes to those podcasts. But let me see some points I wanted to bring up. And we didn't get to all those questions that I wanted to bring up. Okay, I think we got into this. Um, Atheists. Do you consider yourself a theist, atheist, or agnostic? I really wanted to get into the term agnosticism too, because a lot of people consider themselves middle of the road, something like that. There is no middle of the road when it comes to belief. You either believe or you don't believe. Okay. Um, and an atheist, I will emphasize this again, one who does not accept the idea that a deity exists, just based on lack of evidence, and the level of evidence is different for each person. So that's how that goes. Let me see. And how do I personally define the term God? That's up for the individual who believes in that such a being to determine what's the definition of a God. Um, it's something that's been debated over the years. I would say that a supernatural being, whatever that word means, that one holds in high reverence, who is, I guess, has some abilities that mankind does not accept. Though the term God, I mean, well, that's more like the term Lord. It can mean a human being who has ownership over another person, or a person who, so let's just say, somebody you've chosen to follow. They can be considered a Lord. Somebody was bringing that point up. Who was that? I think it was, I don't know. But anyway, I'm just kind of bringing up some points that I wanted to bring up at the last podcast. Yeah, it got kind of insulting at the end. Like I said, got very insulting at the end, and they started name calling, and it just got too heated, and I had to leave that podcast. Um, Let me see the next question. What are the characteristics of the God that you believe in? Since I don't believe any, your best evidence that convinces you that any type of a deity exists. And I think the young brother brought up something about prophecy. And let me speak about that, okay? If you guys didn't watch the podcast, he was basically saying that, from my understanding, prophecy proves a God. And I don't see it that way. He was trying to bring up the book of Daniel and the what I was trying to bring across. If you've read books like, and I highly recommend this for people who wrote the book by Sir Elliot Richard Friedman. The Bible is written by a number of unknown authors, and he was trying to bring up a Christian website that said that Alexander the Great spoke to Daniel. And what I was trying to express is, I'm going to have to look at this website, because especially if it's a Christian website, there are a lot of websites out there, and people proclaim that this person said this or this person said that. And sometimes it's a matter of misinterpretation. Sometimes it's a matter of, sometimes they just outright just put some stuff in there. And I brought up what example did I use? Oh, Eric Von Doniken and what's the other guy's name? God, I cannot remember. I know Eric Von Doniken was one of them, and the whole ancient alien thing. And they were saying, well, it says in the ancient Sumerian text that these aliens came down from somewhere else and they created human beings, and Tiamat was the planet that hit Earth and created the moon and all these things. And I was like, no, it doesn't say all that. You know what I'm saying? So people add stuff in there, and that was another example I wanted to use. But basically, you just can't use that as a source. Even though the brother was asking, and I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie. He probably did say, "Can I use this as proof?" Well, he can use it as evidence. Evidence can be anything. You know what I'm saying? Um, I can say the evidence that Bigfoot exists is that this phone is right here. That's evidence. It's not good evidence, but it's still evidence. You know what I'm saying? And so they had a problem with me saying, well, I gave you the evidence, you're just not accepting it. No, I'm not going to accept something unless it's legitimate. And that's all I was saying, is that I need to go back at a later time. He can send me the link and we can look at it later. You know what I'm saying? But they got to the point where they were saying, well, you don't know what you're talking about. It got very condescending, it got very rude. So let me see, what else did we talk about? I think that was about it. And I think he spent his whole time, the gentleman was speaking about the book of Daniel, and we discussed that. And what I was saying, we talked about the existence of certain people and how do we know certain people existed. And I was telling him that, because I mentioned the best way to know if somebody existed if we have the dead body, and if we can prove that they wrote something, and we have independent verification that somebody wrote something, and we can compare the handwriting to other stuff, and then they kept harping at the idea about dead bodies, and have you seen the dead body of this person? I was just using that as a jump off point. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not saying that bodies and physical evidence is the only way we can know somebody existed. And like I said, with history, none of us were there. None of us were there. So we don't know. You know what I'm saying? All we could do is take our best guess. You know, so in the, let's just say, the physical evidence, even if we have historical evidence, you know what I'm saying, you just can't take the Bible, for example, and say, well, that's the proof. Well, that's kind of circular logic right there. You know what I'm saying? Let me change this up right quick. Because that's just like saying, reading the book of Scientology and L. Ron Hubbard and Dianetics and saying, well, that's the proof that Dianetics is true because I read the book of Dianetics by L. Ron Hubbard. No, that is not proof. It's circular logic. You can't use the very thing that you're trying to prove a point to prove a point. You know what I'm saying? So, and they were saying stuff like, well, certain things in the Bible are true. Yeah, certain things in the Bible are true. That'll be, excuse me, everything is true about the example of comic books, Well, we have a place named called New York City, Does that mean the Ninja Turtles exist? Does that mean Spider Man exists? No. Just because you write about one thing does not mean you write about everything. You know what I'm saying? So, hmm, what else were we talking about? I want to have this discussion again, but it won't be with these individuals because, and like I said, I'm gonna put the blame on myself. I guess that I was not at a point where I could keep my cool 100% of the time, you know. So, I would like to have this discussion again. You know what I'm saying? With some individuals who are willing to do it in a professional manner, non-condescending, not to the point where we have name calling back and forth. That's just immature and that's just not that's not professional. You know what I'm saying? We grown people now. We don't talk about each other. You know, that's just so immature. Um, but I'd like to discuss this. Um, what else? What else? What else? I think that's about it. So I guess my main point in doing a podcast after a podcast is maturing. You know what I'm saying? You have to take accountability for everything that goes wrong. And I will take accountability that I kind of went off toward the end, but they were going off on me. Well, that's not taking accountability. Yes, they were acting a little bit out of sorts, but I was the one who ended up and became less professional than what I usually am. So I'm apologizing to all those who were watching, who are watching. You know what I'm saying? Apologize to the brothers. You know what I'm saying? It's just character building right now. You know what I'm saying? So I would like to have this discussion again, but let me see. What else? There is something else that I wanted to bring up. Um, oh yeah, I wanted to, of course, give my shout outs. Before I ended the podcast, I didn't give my shout outs to the individuals who have been helping me out on a number of things. My boy Jeffrey, hold on, where is he at? Where is his book? Oh my God, I deleted. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. If you have not checked out my boy Jeffrey, When Happiness Spreads, please check it out. Check it out. It's available on Amazon right now. My homegirl Monica, Untold Lies of a Silent Heart by Monica Silver. Please check out that book. Please, please do so. Um, if you love those Tyler Perry type stories, great book, great book. Um, let me see. What else? I might as well put my books up here like I usually do. Come on, where's my book? Here it is. Blackjack and the Beanstalk. Check it out. Urban comedy, urban drama book. Of course, it's based off the old story Jack and the Beanstalk with an urban edge about a former police detective turned conspiracy theorist. Um, Great little book. I need to do me another what do you call that thing? Um, like another promo video or something like that. I need to do another one. You got my book. Where is the words? Here it is. Planet Furball and the Heretic Kitten. Check it out. Check it out. It's available on Amazon as well. I always gotta give a shout out to my girl Lovatia and Lovatia Experience. My boy Barrington Marson. If you have not checked out his book, his movie Abiding, please do so. My homeboy David Juice Weezer on YouTube. Um, who else I get shout outs to? You can always email me, killercraneproductions at gmail.com, Instagram, Vanaris Killer Crane Productions, and on TikTok, Vanaris being Vanaris. Yes, yes, yes. So, we. Yeah, I want to have another discussion on the existence of a deity. Like I said, oh God, that was just that was crazy. That was crazy. But um, I don't know. We could do one. Let's do it after Christmas, guys. Not right now. This Friday we'll be doing another Christmas. I want to share Christmas nostalgic memories because a lot of y'all have shared that with me. When I'm on the phone with you guys always sharing posts and pictures and hey, you remember this Christmas cartoon? Or I remember when I was with my auntie and she done passed away now, but we used to love to blah 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 and do this on around Christmas time, and I really miss her. Yeah, let's do one of those, okay? So I like to hear stories. A lot of times, a lot of y'all get depressed around the holidays, and sometimes all it takes is for you guys to, speak about what's making you depressed. A lot of times it's because the loved ones that you love used to love Christmas and spend time with are no longer with us. So I'm gonna give you guys a chance to talk about that. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just kind of on here right now. Like I said, very disappointed in myself and how I handled that. Wasn't very professional at all. Um, just looking through here, I had some other stuff that I wanted to share. Um, but I think that I will be good. Unless you guys, I guess I'll stick around here for a little bit. Probably about 6 more minutes because I was supposed to end it at 9 o'clock, and I'm like Sheldon Cooper right now. I like to be cordial. You know what I'm saying? If I say I'm going to end something at 9 o'clock, then I'm going to end it at 9 o'clock. So, um, do you guys have any thoughts? Did any of you guys watch the podcast? Do you have any thoughts? You know, um, yeah. Do you have any thoughts on your belief in a deity? We could do another podcast to talk about other than a religion. I don't know how I'm gonna put this. If you want to talk about your proof for things like zodiac signs, if you want to feng shui, spiritualism, if you guys want to talk about that, I don't know. So, yep. I'm gonna just stay on here for another 6 minutes, 5 minutes now. Yep. Uh, Very interesting conversation. Um, Basically, would like for you guys, if you were to join me in this conversation, please study a little thing called logical fallacies. Let's see, did I spell that right? Yep. Logical fallacies are your best friends, guys. There's tons of logical fallacies out there. You know what I'm saying? Um, some of the, I guess, most common ones are like the circular logic fallacy that I mentioned during the podcast, where you can't use the very thing that you're using to support an idea as evidence. So if you say, well, God exists, and then I say, well, where's the evidence of it? Well, if you read chapter this in the Bible, then it says, and you'd be like, well, why should I trust the Bible? Because it's the word of God. Well, that's circular logic. You know what I'm saying? You cannot use the very thing that you're trying to prove as evidence. You know what I'm saying? So a few other ones are like, I've heard this before, what would your mama think about blah 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 blah, or your daddy think about blah blah blah. Well, that's appeal to family, and there's appeal to popularium. It's called ad popularium, which is appeal to popularity. Just because a lot of people believe it does not mean it's true. Of course, there's a highly debatable subjects talking about whether the Earth is flat or not. Okay. Um, I believe it's not round. It is a sphere. That's what I believe. Um, and a lot of people used to believe it's flat, and there's an increasing number of people who are believing that it's flat. But um, there is so much evidence, as Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. I hate to get into the whole quoting somebody, but he was like, "We have satellites from space which can prove that the Earth is round," and even was it Pythagoras, who was the ancient pre-Socratic Greek philosopher, who I think he put the poles in the ground and he looked at the curvature of the shadows and stuff like that. So I mean there are multiple ways to know that the Earth is a sphere. I mean you could look on the horizon and look at in ships when they go around the earth or whatever, what I'm saying, when they go past the horizon and they look like they fall down or whatever. But of course, we know now, those ships don't disappear and go into the abyss, you know. Um, got one more minute. hmm Yep. So if you guys want to discuss this subject again, that would be great. That would be great. All right. Don't see anybody logging on. I know it's kind of late at night. Let me see. Were there any comments at all? Let me see. I don't see any comments. No comments. That's a surprise. Not a one. Interesting. Usually, when I have a heated debate like that, there's somebody that. Let me check YouTube. So before we continue on, let me check. Let me check. Nope. Oh, interesting. So anyway, yeah, and we kind of started late. We had some technical difficulties and stuff of that nature. Um, yeah. Anyway, guys, I guess I'm gonna get off. It is now 9 o'clock. I have fulfilled my promise. I always do a podcast from 7 to 9 p.m. and I have filled my promise. Like I said, as always, you can email me at killercreamproductions@gmail.com. On Instagram at Venaris Killer Crane Productions, and on TikTok, Venaris being Venaris. If you have any ideas for any podcast that you would like for me to do, like I said, this Friday, we're going to talk about nostalgic Christmas memories that you have. And this is for you guys, okay? Like I said, if you have a grandmother or a relative that you really miss, but you spent Christmas with them and stuff like that, we only have two more Christmas episodes before the Christmas season is over with. So, um, I think I'm working on that part. I mean, that promo thing tonight. So, anyway, love you guys. Apologize once again if you're watching the podcast and I got out of my professional shell. I apologize to the Sicarri people, the religious movement. I'm not sure how they, Sicarri movement, I guess, of Memphis, Tennessee. I apologize to them. I apologize to myself. And I apologize to my followers. So, anyway, you guys take care.